feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank.
Hey everybody, welcome to the post-show wrap-up of the Shrimp Tank. I'm your co-host Ted Jenkins with my co-host Lee Heisman. Of course, our guest today, Taylor Barnes. You can get him at taylorbarnes.com. We talked about a ton of stuff today. He has run some amazing organizations all around the world, so you've got to check out the podcast at shrimptankpodcast.com. And of course, while you're trolling on the YouTube channel in here, check out the thousands of videos that we have on here. You can get them in your inbox every week by simply clicking the subscribe button and then hitting that notifications bell. That's how you get all the information and the goods of the Shrimp Tank podcast every week.
Well, I will tell you, go back and listen to the show in its entirety.
Definitely.
There's
100%.
No question. I learned a ton from Taylor. Something that I learned also was EMRP. Mm-hmm. You know, I focus so much on trying to maintain wellness in my life because then I can perform better as a CEO. Mm-hmm. But you've actually quantified this. Can you explain to our audience what you do?
Yeah, and I'll apologize ahead of time. I'm a big acronym guy. Okay, so you might hear a few of those. So again, EMRP, exercise, meditate, read, pray. I believe that these four things have what's called the MEPS muscles, right? You've got mental, you've got emotional, you've got physical, and you've got spiritual. That's your little box right there. And so again, lots of acronyms. I apologize ahead of time. But if you lean in every day to an EMRP model, your choice of minutes, doesn't matter if it's 10, 20, 30, your choice of minutes, lean into that, do that every single day. That routine will help you get into a culture of continuous improvement.
Lee, I thought he was doing a sun's out, guns out thing.
It was on your side, Ted, which is what's good.
I was going to wear a tank top, but I blew it.
For a second there, but we talk about some great stuff on the show, and a lot of people know that the one thing that we all have as an equalizer is time. Everyone has 168 hours in a week, but when you think about time management versus activity management, you mentioned something very interesting on the show. I wonder if you might share it with our audience.
Yeah, sure. So time management, I think, is a myth, right? Everybody wonders, how should I spend my time? How should I spend my time? Time happens regardless if you want it to happen or not. The real challenge is activity management, right? And if you don't have your activity management blocked out in those 168 hours a week, well, then you're just going to be left to the wind. You're going to have somebody pull you into something. You're going to have an email that's, do this for me, do that for me. Everybody that's coming to you as a personally and professionally wants something from you because that's what we do. We give, right? People are going to want stuff from us. So without having very intentional activity management, you're leaving yourself kind of open to doing whatever.
Absolutely.
Lee, did he just prove out my no white space theory? We got to check that out.
Absolutely. That's very true as well. Well, I will tell you, Ted, I've been doing this over 50 years on this planet now. I have focused so much, we talked a little on the show about giving and giving, but I'm always said, but Lee, it just feels like you're also selling something. I'm like, no, I like to give.
Right.
Elaborate a little bit on what you call the 3D sales machine component.
Yeah, so if you listen to the show, we've been around in business for many, many years, and we've created a lot of good jobs and revenue opportunities. But basically, I've taken a lot of the concepts from CentricsIT and developed what's called the 3D sales machine, and that is a 9-step program, very systematic program that sales leaders can use to help their teams get into ultimately a culture of continuous improvement. The 3Ds are discovery, diligence, and delivery, right? You learn who you are and what you're all about, you do the work to put it in, and then you deliver what you have learned. And that will get you into a solid rhythm to increase top-line revenue, increase employee retention, and ultimately increase employee engagement.
So here's the deal. Listeners, I have spent more than an hour with this gentleman, and everything he said I've absorbed, but there's no way I'm going to remember it. So I have to go back, and I have to look online and look up everything that he said to me.
Too many acronyms.
Too many.
No,
Too
but
many
it's important. So for me, let alone our listeners, how do they look you up? How do they get in touch with you? What's your best contact
Yeah, appreciate you
information?
asking. So you can go to www.taylorbarnes.com. A lot of free good stuff in there, including the EMRP. There's a manager assessment quiz. You can find out what kind of manager you are by a personality assessment type deal. And then you can learn very quick ways to improve and do all these things. But if you really want to get into the weeds, which I personally do recommend, that's where you can book an appointment with me. Maybe go get the digital curriculum that's related to the 3D sales machine. And again, I hope this serves you well. I think it's a tremendous tool that you can use for your organization.
Well, thanks for doing the show today. Make sure to go to taylorbarnes.com. Check all of that out. And while you're on the Shrimp Tank YouTube channel, we didn't realize this today, but we actually interviewed one of Taylor's good friends, Chris Tuff. You've got to go check out that interview because he's a New York Times and Wall Street Journal best-selling author. Recently came out a book called Save Your Asks. And as we said on today's show, don't be an asshole when you have those asks. And maybe we'll trademark that shirt, or Chris will. But check that out. And that's your post-show wrap-up of the Shrimp Tank.
I've been feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big